So you've put hours and hours into getting your strategy ready to trade. You've done the backtest, over 1,000 trades. It's all looking fabulous. You've got your risk return numbers. You've got your win-loss ratios. You've got a whole bunch of statistics. But I can tell you there's one very, very simple statistic that most of you miss out. I can tell you if you don't use it, it's going to really mess with your head when you come to actually live that strategy in reality. When you start trading it, the discipline will go out the window, the rules will be chucked out of the pram, everything will go wrong just because you didn't know this one little thing. And once I've let you know what that little thing is in this video, I'm going to show you how I utilize that into coming up with a suitable trade size around that. And I'm going to throw in another statistic that you might have ignored based on a similar concept that might also help out. So with that, let's get into it. This is the trap. Traders look at a backtest and focus only on the ending. They want to know whether the strategy made money, what the return was, what the win rate was, maybe what the profit factor was, but they ignore the path. And in trading, the path certainly does matter. In fact, for most traders, it matters more than the end point. A strategy can be profitable on paper and still be completely untradeable for the person using it. Why is that? Because a trader does not experience a strategy as a final return number. They experience it as a sequence of wins and losses. And when that sequence gets ugly, confidence goes, discipline goes, and execution goes with it. So a backtest is not just a performance summary, it's also a pain profile. And most traders are not reading that part properly. So what is the missing stat? Well, it is so simple, you wouldn't believe it, but not many people think about it when they're producing a very detailed backtest, and that is simply it's the number of losers in a row. That's it. Not the average amount of losers over a backtest, not the total amount of losers over a backtest, the number of losses, losers in a row. And if I ask most traders out there, they wouldn't be able to tell me what that number is. And it's massively important for the psychology of your trading. When you are live, can you live through that period, that cluster of losses? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? What does that do to your account size? Like I said, what does it do to your psychology? Without that knowledge, I can tell you, you'll play silly games, you'll mess around, and you'll ruin all the hard work of your backtest. Let's use a simple example. Say a strategy wins 45% of the time, but the average winner is 1.8 times the average loser. That can still be a very good system. So the expectancy is positive. On paper, it works. But now look at what that really means. It also means the system loses 55% of the time. So losses are not some rare accident. They are part of the trading model. They're normal. And once you accept that, the next question becomes obvious. What happens when those losses bunch together? Because that is where the pain starts. A strategy can be mathematically valid and still be psychologically vicious. Those two things often go together. So what is the big real question we need to be asking? That is the real question you should be asking. Not just, does this strategy have an edge? That is only one step. The more important question is, can I survive the way that edge gets delivered? Can I handle the losing streaks financially? Can I handle them psychologically? Can I keep executing without changing the rules halfway through a drawdown? Because a profitable strategy you abandon after 7 or 8 losses is not your strategy. It might work in theory, but it is useless in practice. That is why I keep coming back to this stat. The number of losses in a row tells you whether you're dealing with something robust and tradable or something that only looks good when you stand far enough away from it. Let's make this practical. Suppose your strategy throws 10 losses in a row. That's not fancy. Depending on the system, that's entirely plausible. What happens in my trading? The important thing then is not whether you still believe in the system philosophically. The important thing is what that losing streak does to your account at your chosen risk level, because this is where reckless sizing gets exposed. A lot of traders size a system based on how much they want to make, not based on what the strategy can realistically put them through. Then the losing streak arrives and the account damage is far worse than they ever properly modelled. That is where the spiral begins. This is where the math stops being abstract. If you risk 1% per trade and take 10 straight losses, you're roughly down 9.6%. Painful, yes, but survivable. At 2% per trade, you're down around 18.3%. Now it's getting serious. At 5% per trade, 10 straight losses takes you down over 40%. That is not a wobble. That is a major account event. And at 10% per trade, you're down roughly 65%. And at that point, you're not trading the edge anymore. You're trying to bring a badly damaged account back from the dead. So when traders say a strategy works, my question is simple. What does the worst plausible losing streak do to your capital at your chosen size? So this is the trap inside the trap. Drawdown and recovery are not symmetrical. If you're down 10%, you need just over 11% to get back. Fine. You know, if you're down 20%, you need 25%, still manageable. But if you're down 40%, you need about 67% to recover. And if you're down 65%, you need around 186% just to get back to even. That is why position sizing matters so much. The deeper the hole, the more absurd the recovery burden becomes. And that is exactly why the number of losses in a row should be feeding directly into your sizing process. I can hear you screaming at the screens right now. You are saying, Stephen, isn't this the same as drawdown? Isn't losses in the row, come to the same thing? Well, no. It's not. They are related, but they are not the same thing. Losses in a row tells me about the sequence of pain, how many consecutive losses in trading the strategy can throw at me. Drawdown tells me about the actual damage to the account from peak to trough. You can have a long losing streak with only moderate drawdown if the losses are small, and you can have a nasty drawdown without a long losing streak if the losses are bigger or mixed with weak recovery. So drawdown measures account damage. Losses in a row measures the pressure placed on the trader. Serious traders need both. Now, bad traders are very good at blaming everything else but themselves. It's the market, it was the setup, etc., etc. But it was probably the trade sizing that actually killed the account, because all was working smoothly when you were on a nice run. You thought you got the right trade size, profits were coming in, but you hit that bad patch and all of a sudden you can't win for toffee, and you're trading that same size through that patch, and then you realize it's either too big and you have to psychologically adjust, which is wrong. You make a smaller trade size, you lose more, you get nowhere, the losses become bigger. It all becomes a mess, and the psychology of it, like I said, plays with you, and all that hard work has gone out the window. So a lot of you out there don't factor in the number of losses in the row to the trade sizing approach that you come up with originally. I've got a quick method now that I want to show you how you can incorporate that, which also incorporates the edge of the strategy as well. This is where the Kelly criterion comes in. I use it all my trade strategies to come up with the correct sizes that are relative to the performance of the edge. It's a great simple strategy. You can see the formula there on the screen. Not much to it. I've got another video. I'll put a link to that at the end of this one, and you can see the thumbnail up on the screen so you can recognize it now, but that'll teach you more about what you need to know about Kelly and also how I use it in my trading. But really simple. It measures your edge, and once you know your edge, you can then work out how much risk you want to use from your funds to put on any one trade. So if you've got that ratio, you're then scaling up on the success of your strategy. But using that as a raw number, I can tell you, is very psychologically hard and also very dangerous, and it's extremely aggressive. And my advice is you shouldn't use the Kelly criteria on its own. So what other traders have come up with? They've come up with an adjusted method, but I've got a slightly different adjusted method, and I'm going to run that by you now. This is where I prefer a more realistic approach. I don't just look at the raw Kelly output and assume that is my position size. I take Kelly as a theoretical starting point, then I push it through the losing streak lens. In other words, I ask, if this strategy hits a normal ugly run, what size can I actually carry without the account damage becoming unacceptable? That's adjustment. So the number of losses in a row becomes a practical break on overconfidence. It stops you from kidding yourself, stops you from oversizing just because the spreadsheet looks clever, and it pushes you towards a level of risk that is more robust in the real world. The point here is not to find the biggest possible size the maths will tolerate in an idealized world. The point is to find a practical size that survives contact with reality. That is a totally different mindset. One is greedy, the other professional. If raw Kelly says one thing, but the losing streak profile says that size would hammer the account too hard, then the Kelly number is too aggressive for practical use. Simple as that. I would rather trade below the theoretical ceiling and stay alive through the ugly patch than size too hard, get smashed in a drawdown and lose the ability to execute properly. Survival first, then compounding. Now this brings in another stat traders should take far more seriously, and that's called risk of ruin. Most people think risk of ruin only means literally going to zero. That's too simplistic, because in real life, ruin often happens long before zero. Ruin is when the account is damaged so badly that you cannot trade properly anymore. Ruin is when confidence is broken. Ruin is when you start interfering with the system, overriding the signals, chopping and changing the rules, or abandoning the method during a normal losing run because that size was too large. That is still ruin in practical terms, and this is why these concepts fit together so well. Losing streaks tells you about the pain profile. Kelly tells you about theoretical edge-based sizing. Your adjusted Kelly lens forces that through real-world losing streak, and risk of ruin helps measure whether the whole thing is sensible or reckless. So here is the practical framework. Every serious backtest should answer a handful of non-negotiable questions. What was the longest losing streak? What was the max drawdown? What return would be needed to recover from that drawdown? What does raw Kelly suggest? What does my adjusted Kelly look like once I factor in the losing streak profile? And what does the risk of ruin look like if I trade it that way? That is how serious traders think, not in terms of headline excitement, but in terms of survivability, because the aim is not just to prove that a strategy made money once. The aim is to size it in a way that lets you stay in the game long enough to collect that edge. So the big takeaway from the video is quite simple. It's factor in how many losers in a row you have in the strategy that you are trading. You can get that from a back test. If you don't know that, assume, put in a number, a sensible, then keep data, keep statistics around your live trading so you can build up that history of losers in a row that you get. Because once you get that stat into your trading, it will certainly make a difference. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification buttons, because there's plenty more content coming your way. And don't forget to check out the website www.TheStopHunter.co.uk for a lot more content and a lot more stuff that we get up to here that you might be interested in. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.